Hello, hello out there. Welcome to my channel, The Reconverted Catholic. I am CV. I appreciate you stopping by. This video is the second or third video actually in a series I'm calling Dialoguing with Doubters. In the first part of the series, I'm covering dialoguing with atheists, and that part is split into 4 videos total. I have an intro video, and the last video I just recorded covers one angle of argument that atheists often bring up. That's the moral argument. In this video, I'm going to cover the second of 3 typical angles that atheists take in arguing against religion and Christian faith and belief in God and the Bible. And that is the scientific argument here. So we're going to cover some basics about that, and then also I have links provided below to go in more detail about answering the question of science versus faith, the sort of the big debate, right? Or to some people, they see it as like when worlds collide, right? How can faith and reason, or faith and science, how can they coexist? And that has one or the other has to be right. So we'll cover some of that here again in this video, and then finally the third video will be on the what I'm calling the biblical scholarship argument. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about the scientific argument. So let's see if any of these comments or questions sound familiar to you. Evolution disproves Adam and Eve. Checkmate, Christians. Or the flood never happened. How did Noah collect 2 of every possible species, and etc., so on and so forth? The Earth is 4.7 billion years old. Why did God wait so long to create humans? We know that humans evolved from a common ancestor to all primates, and that all species mostly grew out of sea life. And of course, a very old question of who created God? Now, unless you or the atheist you're dialoguing with truly work as a scientist, or if you are rather casual readers of science books and know enough about biology, chemistry, neuroscience, psychology, so on to be dangerous, you and your atheist friend are still probably not fully qualified to slam dunk science onto each other. It does not mean you cannot become even more educated in science, earn the appropriate degrees, or make a career change. However, there is no full substitute for someone who has performed hundreds of hours of scientific experiments and has volumes of peer-reviewed papers on their discipline. Thankfully, some of these same experts publish comprehensive books for casual readers and students to read, of course, which also means plenty of ammunition for anyone who uses scientific method to disprove the supernatural. Except that none of the established sciences out there, excluding pseudosciences, were intended to explain the supernatural. Science at its core is about understanding the natural world and cosmos around us. It does not have a framework for testing supernatural claims. That is partly why discussing the supernatural is more of a philosophical discussion than a scientific one. Yes, if God exists, then yes, he essentially created science. But does that mean we will ever develop all the means to connect all scientific dots to a supernatural deity? Nor is it critical to believing in God. We do not need science to understand God. So I'll say that again. We do not need science to understand God. Just as we do not need science to understand why we should love each other, our families, our children. Just as we do not need science to learn how to be thoughtful and charitable. And this is coming from someone with a pretty solid education in neuroscience, funny enough. That does not mean you must take my word for it, or that I'm the final authority on explaining brain function. But speaking of brain function, one key component that science cannot articulate very well is consciousness. No, I do not mean the consciousness that New Agers conflate with energy fields and other rather flawed ideas. I mean we know that brain chemistry does produce consciousness, yet we do not know why exactly or how exactly. which means here we are as humans strutting around with some intrinsic need to be transcendentally connected to forces other than our biological wiring. It is a mystery. Some even refer to it as the soul. It is certainly a compelling case for what the soul represents. But then again, science stops where the supernatural starts. Until some extraordinary finding blows the roof off that, we remain with the mystery. And when we explore that mystery throughout the Bible, we have a compelling, non-scientific reason for believing in God. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I do have some links provided here that discuss that science versus faith debate in more detail. One being I believe in science versus I believe in God. Definitely an excellent video to check out. Another one covers an important document to Catholicism, and I'd say to the whole world, from Pope John Paul II. It was called Fides et Ratio, or Faith and Reason, and gives an excellent comprehensive overview of faith and reason and how they can cohabitate and be in harmony with each other and not against each other. As well as a couple other videos on, exploring the evidence for the existence of God and, science versus faith. Again, really tackling that argument. As with the other links I provided in other videos, I hope these are a good resource for you when dialoguing with your atheist friends. Also keep in mind, too, that I've just covered some basics, some foundational information. Definitely use these links, resources, to help fill in some more details about having the conversation about scientific argument. And look forward to your feedback about again, please feel free to drop comments. And also, again, feel free to email me directly at trcatholic@gmail.com. Again, that's trcatholic@gmail.com. Next video coming up will be about the biblical scholarship argument. So definitely tune in for that. And look forward to seeing you in that video. Thanks.